Growing up, I was always taught that family was everything. My parents instilled in us the importance of sticking together, supporting each other, and being the no matter what. Blood is thicker than water, my mom would say, her voice filled with conviction. In the end, family is all you've got. I believed that for most of my life. My younger sister, Emily, and I were closely, at least, we were when we were kids. She was the baby of the family, the one who got all the attention and, if I'm honest, most of the love. But I didn't mind. I loved Emily more than anything. I was her protector, her confidant, the big brother who would do anything for her. As the years went by, though, things started to change. Emily was always the star, the one who seemed to get everything she wanted with little effort. She was the outgoing one, the social butterfly, while I was more reserved, focused on my studies and later, my career. But no matter what, I was always there for her. I always had her back. But then, something shifted. Emily began to expect things to go her way. It was subtle at first, little things like expecting me to pick her up from parties late at night or covering for her when she got into trouble. But as we grew older, her demands grew more serious, and our parents, who had always doted on her, were all too willing to indulge her every whim. I tried to ignore it, to brush it off as just the way things were. After all, she was my sister, and I loved her, but as the years went on, I started to feel like I was being taken for granted. No matter how much I did for Emily, it was never enough. She expected more, demanded more, and I was always the one who had to make the sacrifices. The breaking point came when Emily got engaged to her boyfriend, Josh. They had been dating for about a year, and while I had my reservations about him, he seemed a bit too laid back, a bit too reliant on Emily. I kept my concerns to myself. After all, it was her life, her decision, and when she asked me to be her best man, I was honored. I was determined to make sure her wedding day was perfect. But then the wedding planning began, and everything spiraled out of control. Emily wanted a grand, extravagant affair, as something straight out of a fairy tale. She wanted the best of everything, the most luxurious venue, a designer dress, an elaborate menu, and an open bar stocked with top-shelf liquor. The cost was staggering. Our parents were retired, living on a fixed income, but they were determined to give Emily the wedding of her dreams. They started dipping into their savings, taking out loans, and even considering selling their home to cover the costs. I was horrified. This was money they had set aside for their retirement, for emergencies, for their future, and they were willing to blow it all in one day just to make Emily happy. I tried to talk to them, but tried to make them see the reason, but they were caught up in the excitement of it all. "It's her special day," my mum said, brushing off my concerns. We wanted to be perfect for her. I even tried to talk to Emily, to make her see how much she was asking our parents, but she wouldn't hear it. She was so wrapped up in her vision of the perfect wedding that nothing else mattered. "You only get married once," she said. "It has to be perfect." That's when she came to me. It was a Sunday afternoon, and I was at home, enjoying a rare day off when the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone, so I was surprised to see Emily standing on my doorstep, a bright smile on her face. "Hey, big brother," she chirped, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. "Got a minute?" I nodded, a little wary. Emily didn't just drop by for no reason. We sat down in the living room, and she started chatting about the wedding, how everything was coming together, how excited she was, how much our parents were doing to make it all happen. I listened, smiling and nodding in all the right places, but there was a part of me that couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. And then she got to the point. "So, there's one more thing I need," she said, her tone casual, as if she were asking for a cup of sugar. "I need you to cover the cost of the open bar." I blinked, not sure I'd heard her right. "The open bar?" "Yeah," she said, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. "Mom and Dad have already done so much, and I don't want to ask them for more, but I can't have a wedding without an open bar. Everyone expects it." I stared at her, trying to process what she was saying. The open bar alone would cost thousands of dollars of money I had been saving for years, money I had set aside for a down payment on a house, for my own future. I don't know, Emily, I said slowly, trying to choose my words carefully. That's a lot of money. I've been saving up for a long time, and I really can't afford to spend it all on this. She looked at me, her expression shifting from casual to annoyed in an instant. But it's my wedding, she said, as if that explained everything. You're my brother. Don't you want to help me have the perfect day? I felt a surge of frustration. I do want to help, but this is too much, Emily. You're asking me to give up my savings, to put my own future on hold, just so you can have an open bar at your wedding. That's not fair. Her eyes narrowed, and I could see the anger building behind them. Not fair, she repeated, her voice rising. What's not fair is you refusing to help me when I need you. What's not fair is you being selfish when this is supposed to be the happiest day of my life. Selfish, I shot back, my own anger flaring. Emily, do you even hear yourself? You've been treating this wedding like it's the only thing that matters, and you're expecting everyone else to just fall in line and make it happen. Mom and Dad are risking their retirement for this, and now you want me to risk my future too? She stood up, her face flushed with anger. I can't believe you, she said, after everything I've done for you. After all the times I've been there for you, you're just going to turn your back on me like this? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Turn my back on you? Emily, I've always been there for you. I've always supported you, but this is different. You're asking too much. She glared at me, her hands clenched into fists. You're just jealous, she said, her voice dripping with venom. You've always been jealous of me. You can't stand that I'm getting married, that I'm happy, that everyone loves me. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. Jealous? Was that what she really thought? That's not true, I said, my voice shaking with a mix of anger and hurt. I've never been jealous of you, Emily. I've always wanted you to be happy, but I won't let you guilt me into something I can't do. I won't let you ruin our relationship over money. Ruin our relationship? She sneered. You've already ruined it. You're nothing but a selfish, heartless bastard. With that, she stormed out, slamming the door behind her. I stood there, shaking with anger and disbelief. How had things gotten so bad? How had my sister, the person I had always loved and protected, turned into someone who would say such hateful things? The days that followed were some of the hardest I've ever experienced. My parents called me, both of them upset and confused. Emily had told them everything, framing the situation in a way that made me look like the villain. They couldn't understand why I wouldn't help her, especially when she was their little girl and this was her wedding day. You're her brother, my dad said, his voice filled with disappointment. We've always taught you to look out for each other. This is her special day, can't you see that? I tried to explain my side, to make them see reason, but it was no use. They were too wrapped up in the idea of giving Emily her dream wedding to see the bigger picture. They accused me of being selfish, of not caring about my sister, of putting money before family. It hurt more than I could have imagined. These were my parents, the people who had raised me, who I had always looked up to, and now they were turning against me. I started getting calls and messages from other family members, all of them echoing the same sentiment. Everyone seemed to be on Emily's side, and no one was willing to listen to me. I felt completely isolated, like I was standing alone against my entire family. It was a dark time, and I spent many nights lying awake, questioning whether I had made the right decision. Part of me wanted to just give in, to give Emily the money and make everything go back to the way it was.